Sheena Ringo, Musai Moratorium. I'm actually I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of sad how quickly we're getting through this album. We're already up to track 8, and it's only an 11 track album. And I'm really enjoying this. You know, I always say I'm honest on this channel, but sometimes it's hardest to convey that when you are genuinely enjoying something. Because obviously the default position for most people who do these kind of videos is, oh, I love everything, I love this, I love that. Just, you know, trying to get people to like your videos. But I'm always honest. If I don't like something, I'll usually knock it on the head and not listen to any more. But I can tell you right now, I am definitely going to be checking out the follow-up album to this. Although I will say a lot of what I loved about this album has been the probably a sort of raw intensity that might be innately down to the fact it's a debut album. Who knows? Well, you guys probably know because so many of the fans, you've been really good in the comments, giving me so much information. I know a lot of you are telling me how I'd check out the live versions. I keep on saying. Maybe after we've checked out all the recorded versions. But anyway, look, I'm looking forward to this one because this one has a music video. Now, I say that, you guys told me that apparently Tsuki Asobi, the last song, also had a music video, which for some reason is not in the official playlist. That makes me sad that I missed the music video. But anyway, today we're going to be checking out Kokete Kishite. And that is an interesting name. That's one of those names where there's no kanji. I don't have to guess what that means. It literally means kiss me here. So I am intrigued to see where we go with this. I don't know where this sits in the roster of her singles, but this is going to be, again, one of those ones where we're going to be hearing, and I imagine this first frame of the roses, I imagine there's going to be a romantic subtext, at least to this. Maybe it's going to be some sort of allegory, but I'm interested to see what we get from the song, video, everything. And especially considering there was a music video behind it, that means that obviously they wanted to put finance into pushing this out as a representation of her. It does seem that she was working with great people, and does seem that the record company at least eventually relented to giving her the right team of people. So I'm hoping this is a song that everyone agrees was a good one to put on a music video on. But this is all the kind of stuff that I really want to hear from you guys, the fans, about. And I'm saying that just genuinely out of interest. Whenever we get songs that have music videos, I'm always like, is this the sort of song where you think that it was a good one to put out as a music video? Or, yeah, anyway, let's check this out. This is Kokete Kishite. Interested to see what we get about this one. Oh, nearly 5 minutes. It's a proper lengthy one. From Musai Moratorium. Sheena Ringo. Let's go. Is there sound? Yeah.
I'll never be able to give up on you, so never say goodbye and kiss me once again.
Was not expecting English. Okay, I'm liking that kind of swinging rhythm. Okay. That double snare work is really funky. Oh yeah, the bass is building up, you can feel it building up. It's got a very smooth quality to it. This is so I can already feel this is the kind of song you can listen to over and over. Something about the smooth romantic feel and the kind of dark undertones. It's very I like that she's milking this chorus. Do it again, yeah.
あなたほどの人なんていないよあなたしか見てないのよ今すぐにここでキスして
Oh yeah, you got the orange amp, you got the other. This is pure old school, turn of the millennium, grungy guitar J-pop solo territory. Yeah.
行かないでねどこにだって私と
Yeah, that's a very old school breakdown, but I like it. Smooth again.
あなたしか見てないのよ今すぐにここで
Adding the bass on the hand in the neck.
キスしてね I feel so nice 'cause you are with me now If it's certain I love you so much
The English is a bit weird. I don't know why the English is in here. Is this guy English? I think. Ooh, that's a nice. You can feel that dropping chord there. Oh, that got through 4.5 minutes very efficiently. I'll be honest with you, that's the kind of song where it's 4.5 minutes and yet it feels like 3.5 minutes, which is always a net positive. Okay, right. Let's just be honest about this one. I really enjoyed this, but I enjoyed this in that kind of way that I think is not unique, but is quintessentially a thing about singles. Basically, in that this song was like fantastically catchy. And I don't mean that in kind of, again, I don't mean that in like a repeat hook kind of way. I mean, it just had this sort of melody where you just wanted to sing along to it. Now, obviously, being a sort of more mid-tempo song, it's progressing at a fairly steady rate, which is another reason why it's over 4.5 minutes long. But it's the fact that just throughout this time, you constantly feel captured by the melody the whole way it progresses. It really does take your classic single structure, verse, chorus, bridge, guitar solo, then break down at the beginning of the last chorus, and then chorus comes in. That structure, which, you know, a lot of songs get through that in 2.5 to 3 minutes. This makes it last 4.5 minutes, just for me, purely on this kind of the beauty of the melody, obviously the beauty of the delivery. There's a lot of emotion in it, and also somewhat the intriguing premise. I'm always a little bit cautious when it comes to Japanese lyrics in case I'm missing some of the subtext. But yeah, this seems to be another song about the fact that she seemed to have some definite, shall we say, teenage problems. She's definitely comes across as a person who has a lot of teenage-esque kind of relationship things. And the English part kind of confused me. Why is there English in this song? I'm going to be honest, her English didn't sound bad, but I always kind of think unless you're fluent in the language, it seems a bit weird to include it. And so, you know, I was wondering, is this going back to her... shall we say, just going back to her Sid Vicious references again from the previous song. But I would say as a general, you know, I think that the tone of it, I don't want to judge lyrics too much because, again, my nuance with Japanese is not great. But you could definitely tell that what she's talking about is this kind of angsty teenage romance thing again that seems to be very much fueling a lot of what she's talking about here. I mean, in this album, especially when we're looking at songs earlier on, you know, Kabukicho being an example, you know, a lot of it is her coming to terms with how she sees herself and, you know, kind of not necessarily romantic things, but how she values her relationships with other people. And this, as a single, yes, it doesn't have quite all the quirky things that make so much of this album interesting in other ways. It doesn't have all the quirky instrumentation. Instrumentally, it's very simple. Structurally, it's very effective, but still very simple. But it definitely feels almost like an anthem for the general vibe of this album. Kind of a bit angsty, you know, longing. emotionally conflicted. I also have to give credit. I thought the music video, for a 4.5 minute music video, it primarily is. I mean, I'm always a fan of these rotating shots. I think it's a great way of adding movement into an image, and also gives you more. You get to see more of the artist, because he moves around them rather than just looking at them like a magazine shoot. But, I think using that throughout, and then basically just have her in front of some roses, have the band in front of her, and then just allowing her performance, the emotion on her face, and her just playing to be the video. I think it's very effective. I think it works. I think it's a really good video, 4.5 minutes. And is it like a compelling video? That's a different question. But is it a video that definitely serves the purpose, moves with the music, and conveys the emotion? Yeah. I think the cutting, the range of distances kind of gave it life, stopped it seeming repetitive, but it was just very much about, okay, look at the facial emotions of the person singing this. And the main reason why, a lot of what I'm saying might say that I'm kind of saying, oh, it's simple, but it works. It's simple, but it works. The main reason why, for me, that's actually a good thing is because so far this album has done something that I personally, as a songwriting fan, absolutely adore, which is that it's focused very much on all kinds of playful, clever ideas. There seems to be a thesis behind every song. This one, as I mentioned earlier, just kind of feels like the quintessential example of just doing an anthem for what the general vibe of the, well, maybe not the whole album, but the general vibe of her as a teenager seems to be. It's just, when you've got an album full of interesting and complex ideas, not only do you earn the right to have a more simple, straightforward, ballad-esque melodic song, but in a way I think it actually helps for you to have that, because it is in itself a piece of variation. So, funny thing is, I would definitely come back and listen to this just as a simply melodic song, simply a melodic experience. But I also think it works very well in the context of the album. And coming later on in the album, I'm imagining, considering that she got such a good team of people around her and was so artistically in control of the album herself, I'm imagining that she was one of the people who thought, yeah, it's a good idea to put this later on in the album. It's a good thing. It's a bit of a palate cleanser. Allows the last 3 songs to be a bit of a ramping journey. I don't know whether it's going to go more in this direction or whether it's going to suddenly ramp up towards the end. I'm sure whatever it's going to be creatively interesting given everything we've heard thus far. But I have to say I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this more than I expected. Just based on the title. I'm glad it had the same conflicted, nutty teenage energy. It is definitely a teenager kind of song. As well as she words these things, this is very much teenage emotion. But not only does it beautifully convey that, but I think as well is just this sense that it's it's really, how to put it? It feels just like a good anthemic song that you come out of with a general sense of, that was melodically and emotionally beautiful. And really, what more can you ask a lot of the time? I say, if it's the first song you hear from an artist, you might be thinking, oh, is that all you can do? Are you just kind of like a melody person? We got a million of those. But if you hear it off the back of what she's already proven herself to be, then yeah, amazing. Anyway, there you go. Those are my thoughts. As always, get in the comments. Tell me what you think. Next song's coming up soon. Until I hopefully see you very soon for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.